Miss anything.
Here we are.
Might have to put the filter in the pod. Oh man.
Another Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm. Always wake up to something. Always. It's like the Sixers exist solely to give us things to talk about. God bless them. God bless them. They're like, content vacuum?
We got you.
No problem. We got you. I appreciate them.
The Temple shirt, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Going to Temple Rutgers today.
Oh, nice. You'll be rooting. Wait, you're a Rutgers guy, though, right?
Yeah, I don't. So my friends I'm going with are all Rutgers alum. But I imagine it being at the link, it's going to be the big Temple showing. So
we air the Rutgers games on WFAN. So I'm a Rutgers guy now. Officially a Rutgers guy.
It's good. Scarlet Knights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to just wear like Philly stuff. Nice neutral.
Oh, come on. You think you get beat up for wearing a Rutgers t-shirt to a Temple game? What do we do?
All my Rutgers stuff is like when I was a freshman in college. And
okay.
Like 40 pounds lighter. And
40 pounds lighter?
40 pounds lighter.
What?
Yeah, I was tiny. In my freshman year.
Well, we've seen the dancing video of you with Missy Pavorsky.
It was about that, yeah.
Okay. More of a wiggly time for you.
Yeah.
Sort of like noodly time.
Very noodly, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't find today's rundown. Oh, there it is.
What are we talking about? What are we going to talk about?
Who knows what's going on?
All right, let's go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged, and Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. God bless our sponsors for being involved in this particular episode. On the show today, Darryl Mori isn't the only executive of the Sixers who is horny, as Doc Rivers' Twitter makes news on Friday night. We discuss the news that it has made. We bring out Vegas Mike for some Ben Simmons prop bets that are there on DraftKings. The Sixers City edition jersey may be stupid and may have leaked. Darryl Mori says some players don't want to play in Philadelphia. And Montrezl Harrell, as he's getting in trouble for having 3 pounds of pot on him, accidentally slanders Joel Embiid and the Wells Fargo Center. Before we get going, we have hit 50 members of our Bark in the Park team October 22nd at Rose Tree Park to benefit Providence Animal Center. If you join and raise $50, you're going to get our t-shirt, our special team t-shirt. Do it at rightstoRickySanchez.com or in the notes of this pod. We've raised over $7,000 so far. The goal is $16,000. Sign up soon so I can get your t-shirt size, because we have to order them soon. And thank you to our sponsors, MortgageCS, Pavorsky Jewelers, Briggs Auction, DraftKings, Body Bio, for all supporting the Bark in the Park team. As well, South by South Brett has now hit 100 members that will be going to Austin and San Antonio, as this one is shaping up to be a massive one again. Fly the Process will be February of 2023. We will go to Austin. We will bus to San Antonio. We'll be there 3 nights. It'll be a lot of fun. We actually have more Texas listeners than I figured. There are a bunch of people that are already down there that want to join us, which is pretty interesting. So go to rightstoRickySanchez.com/fly, rightstoRickySanchez.com/fly. And Kinetic Skateboarding. Man, I think this is the first time that the first half of September has been cool like this in the Northeast. It's almost like exactly switched to fall temperatures, which is the best time to shop at Kinetic Skateboarding. You need a long sleeve tee? Kinetic's got it. Need new jeans? Kinetic's got it. Need new sneakers for the fall? Kinetic's got it. Sweatshirts and hoodies? Kinetic's got it. Go to kineticskateboarding.com and use code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here. Say the name.
y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. Say the name.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez forever.
Man, that intro video is good. CJ did a good job. Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who loves getting horny on Twitter. That is one Mike Levin, right? You're a big horny guy on Twitter.
Notoriously horny guy. Love sharing my horniness with other people. I just can't be horny alone. I want my friends to join. I want it to be a group, just like support. Everyone needs to have my back while I'm horny.
So I woke up this morning. We already had one slightly horny instance this offseason when it was discovered that Darryl Mori, who has since joked about it, we found out Darryl follows the Girls in Yoga Pant Twitter account, and that was ha 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 ha. So I woke up this morning and I looked at my phone, and there was a chat that I'm in that had like 70 messages in it. And I was like, wow, that's a lot from last night to this morning. Oh, it's all about Doc Rivers. Oh goodness. Oh, wow. look at Doc's. Oh, wow. Hardcore pornography. Wow. Doc really, really went at it. So somebody discovered, I don't know when it happened, that Doc had about 9 tweets that he liked, that some of them were videos of hardcore pornography. The report this morning that a team source has told all of us so far. I got a text from the team source. Everyone's gotten this. Let's just credit Paul Hudrick. Confirmed through a team source that Doc Rivers' Twitter account was compromised and the team was working overnight to address it. All of the content has since been unlocked and Rivers has full access to his account again. Mike, how about these hackers that all they don't do anything bad, but like a few pornographic tweets?
It's a real strategy. My dastardly plan. I was at a bar and I went to pee and I checked my phone and I saw so many Doc Rivers things and I was just like, I'm not going to take this on. This is not something I just couldn't, when you start, I read too late into it. I had to scroll back to, I was like, what is the beginning of this? Like, what is,
right.
What
you
happened?
Have to catch up. There's
I was
much.
like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what? I can't do it right now. And so I kind of didn't. And I'm really just, I'm learning it, within the last few minutes.
Oh, so wow.
I'm in the early, as far as the, stages of, I don't know about grief, but stages of a horny, recollection. I'm in the early stages of it. Yeah, look, good for whoever hacked into it. I love the idea of somebody working all night. Be like, this is an all-nighter. we found out. So whatever crisis firm, technology person at the Sixers is like, here we are again. I got another one. I can't
change the password. What are we doing? What are they do? What are they working on all night?
Night.
The Sixers must have a direct line to two things: Twitter and legal firms who investigate these sorts of things.
Specialize.
Yeah.
Honey, put on another pot of coffee. Doc's horny again. I gotta be working. I'm fucking. You bet your ass. I'm bet overtime on this one. Absolutely, double, triple time.
I mean, the wife wants to play Twitter.
I like partially, it's such a disparate, if it was just a Ted Cruz type of thing, you could buy it, but I don't know. I almost believe him. I don't know why I'm like
Wow.
on the other side of it, but
Wow.
I'm still, look, this is still me early on reacting to it. So this is not me having like a fully formed take, but having seen just some of the screenshots that you put in the rundown is the first time I'm saying, and I just, you know what, man, first of all,
I
let
can't
people
even
like what
read
they
them.
like. That's fine.
Yes.
That's not, none of this is that issue.
Yeah, want to
Whatever
be
you-
clear that we both feel this way. If you like this stuff, unless, everybody in this pornography is voluntarily in the pornography.
Consensual, be into what you're into,
Yes,
all fine.
for
And it's,
sure.
and it's not all, it's all, I'm seeing you posted 6 screenshots in here, and if they feel like some different stuff.
Yes.
Some different stuff. So it's not just one thing. But
No, there is wife pornography. There is some transsexual pornography. There is some, what is this? I can't even read most of
yeah,
them.
one of them is a screenshot of something that's pretty graphic, right in the middle of something, right? We're going for it.
It's the Saturday mornings together.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then fat ass white girls throwing it back is interesting also. That's an interesting one.
Another video. I didn't
Yeah.
even watch the fat ass white girls throwing it back. Hashtag.
No, I didn't. Oh, I didn't. I didn't watch any of these. I just seen the screenshots.
Those are videos. Yeah. So the fat ass white girls throwing it back is a hashtag sloppy toppy.
Not great. None of this is great for the Sixers. I don't think it helps the Sixers in their quest to win a championship.
Do you think this makes? Do you think? Okay, if this was Doc doing it, do you feel better or worse about Doc? And second question, follow up. Do you think Greg Popovich would have similar likes?
Yeah. Would you ask Doc about fat ass white girls throwing it back? Would you ask Greg Popovich about that? I think it has no impact whatsoever. It might make Darryl and Doc closer. Little foxhole mentality for the two of them. Darryl's was genuinely funny. I don't know that Doc will find this funny. And I don't know that whoever had to pull an all-nighter because of it will find.
Somebody called Twitter. One of our front office people fucked up on Twitter again. Tubby-
Twitter calls the Sixers just like, lose our number. Just stop contacting us for anything at all.
What does sloppy toppy mean? I don't even know what it means. I can't even. I want to read the wife wants to play one, but it is so inappropriate. It's like too much for this pod. We curse on this pod, but like I can say hashtag cuckold. I think that's okay.
Sure.
Hashtag threesome. Hashtag threesome MMF. Hashtag wife wants to play.
People both can find it and search the hashtags to their heart's content.
So,
I would love like an Embiid tweet about it. That would be great. That would be
Yeah.
a throwback to
yeah.
What I mean, Embiid could make a joke about it on a tweet, and then Doc could take it personally, and then it could implode the whole team. Like there's a real possibility that this does have a devastating impact in some sense.
Many people have mentioned in the chat that in between these likes were likes of Seth Curry appreciation posts, which obviously
Great.
the hacker also liked Seth Curry.
You got to mix it in. In hacking school, they tell you that, man. Like it can't just be like sexy, horny tweets. You got to be like mix in a couple smart ones. Mix in a couple ones about maybe like a reverse mortgage. Like just to see like it could be anything.
Oh my God.
My interests are not just being horny, but also like some financial literacy and maybe some appreciation for a one-way shooter.
Hashtag OnlyFans. Hashtag I don't even know what's bad and what's not. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stay away from
That's
it.
smart. I feel like that's smart.
Though sloppy toppy, I'm sorry if it's bad. I'm saying I don't know what it means, but it is making me laugh. And that one I'm going to hang on to. And I think somebody I know Doc is meeting with the media. I think this week, I believe he has lunch with beat writers this week. I want somebody to ask him what sloppy toppy means.
Yeah, I do. I would like the Sixers to get if they get Dario back, and maybe another maybe we'll say it's just Korkmaz, but then you could just anytime they're in lineup together, you could say fat ass white girls throwing it back. Dario and Korkmaz are on the screen.
So we actually have a coach question that came from our very own Mike Weber. We'll get to that right after we talk about MortgageCS must be fucking honored to be involved in the
reporting the news, reporting and discussing the local news.
MortgageCS, we love. MortgageCS.com/Ricky. MortgageCS.com/Ricky to be a MortgageCS Ricky VIP if you need a mortgage or if you are refinancing or debt consolidation or any of those things. The first thing I want you to do when you go to MortgageCS.com/Ricky is look at that page. They created a beautiful page with art and it's really great. And I think it speaks to their investment in the community and how much they care about being a part of what we're doing. Even when I mentioned Bark in the Park, they were like, what is the biggest sponsorship we can do? So they're sponsoring the food truck festival, the plant-based food truck festival. They're all in. The only way that you get a company like this is if they are small, independent, and can move, right? You don't get a big mortgage broker to do this. You don't, because they're too busy manipulating your information on the internet to take advantage of you. That's not what MortgageCS does. So MortgageCS is a mortgage broker, not a lender. They don't give you the money. They go to mortgage lenders and find the best rate for you. But the most important thing that they're going to do is explain to you the rate, right? Explain to you what's good and what's bad and how the rate is not always the rate. And if you walk away from MortgageCS and end up getting a better rate somewhere else, but know more about the mortgage process and how it works, they're happy. They're available at all times, which is what you need from your mortgage broker. In fact, you could text or call their CEO, Ben, right now, and he will respond almost immediately, I guarantee you. 267-391-7425. 267-391-7425. They're going to help you learn. They're going to help you get a mortgage, and they're going to help you understand that moving forward in your life. And I think I'm proud that they're a sponsor of ours. I think all of the response we've gotten from listeners who have gone to MortgageCS has all been exactly the same. I am confident in sending you there. And like I said, whether you're buying a new home or you're refinancing or whatever it is, they are a great resource, not just to get the loan, but a resource for information. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky to schedule a consultation or call or text Ben at 267-391-7425. Love them. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. Okay. Got a text from Mike Weber. Mike Weber, the Spike Lee of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, has, of course, verbally assaulted Dave Silver in person, just a talented and troubled guy, and sent me this text message unrelated to fat ass white girls throwing it back or sloppy toppy or the wife tweet. He said, assuming the current roster basically stays as is for the upcoming season, I want you to go through the last 9 coaches since Larry Brown, the last coach to get us past the second round, in terms of who would have the best chance of taking the Sixers beyond the second round this season. Instead of ranking all 9, tell me who are the 3 among the 9 who'd take this current team the farthest and who are the bottom 3 coaches. Those coaches are Randy Ayers, Chris Ford, Jim O'Brien, Maurice Cheeks, Tony DeLeo, Eddie Jordan, Doug Collins, and Brett Brown. Actually, that's not 9.
And Doc.
Let's say 8. Oh, and Doc. Yeah, that's 8. So why don't you give me your 3 who you would be most confident in getting past the second round?
It is a tough list.
It really is.
Look at.
Yeah.
I should have sunglasses on to look at some truly bright shit like this. I mean, it's to take this current team past the second round. It's definitely not Randy Ayers or Chris Ford.
Probably not.
Or Tony DeLeo or Eddie Jordan.
And honestly, Mo Cheeks was a bad coach.
But now, I feel like
Right.
I would feel like
Okay.
I would have confidence in him. He wasn't a great coach. And it wasn't much to deal with that when he was here. It wasn't like they could have.
Well, just in general, he wasn't a good coach. But yeah, I don't know. He's been around long enough. Maybe. Yeah.
God, Eddie Jordan, man. They really talk about him as a total piece of shit on Real Housewives of Potomac. I can't say it enough.
He was the worst coach I've ever seen coach. He was the worst coach.
It's very funny.
I was at almost every game when he was coach, and it was so bad. It was, you could see the look on the players' faces, how much they hated him.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, just what a fucking idiot. Maybe a nice person. I'm sorry. Probably a nice person, but
Didn't
just
seem to
bad
didn't seem to like his wife very much.
yeah.
Okay. So we got rid of those. So then it's Jim O'Brien, Maurice Cheeks, Doug Collins, Brett Brown, Doc Rivers. I mean, I hate Doug Collins so much. I hate him so much.
But
I really do. I will absolutely refuse to list him in this exercise.
yeah, and I think Harden would really hate Doug Collins.
Oh my
I think
God.
specifically, you know.
Yeah. And I think, there's a chance that Doug Collins comes here for 5 minutes and Embiid requests a trade. Just like he grinds on people so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying no to that. Jim O'Brien, I have really little recollection of like what kind of a coach he was. Aside from like he was going to institute some like discipline in Iverson or something like that. And I was just like, I don't know. Fuck that. So probably not Jim Brown. So I'll probably just say Mo Cheeks, Brett Brown, and Doc Rivers. Horny Doc.
I just want to interject that I just thought about Morgan Freeman saying sloppy toppy. And if there's somebody who listens who does a Morgan Freeman impression and wants to send me that, I will put it on the soundboard. That's just an FYI. I would pick...
You're really doubling down on sloppy toppy without
Without
knowing
knowing
what
what
it
it means.
is. There's a chance
Yeah.
that this is the last time you say it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm not looking it up.
Well, you
but
just said it after me. So
I'm fine with it.
Okay. All right.
I'm a clown.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying it anymore until I find out what it is. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I would take Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, and Jim O'Brien.
And CJ weighs in. And CJ has weighed in.
Oh, in the private chat?
Very clearly, to the point. Nothing. Oh, and a little bit more. A little bit more detail. The first one was very succinct. And then he's giving us a math problem afterwards.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, it could be worse, I guess I would say.
Sure. Yeah.
It could be way worse.
Yeah.
Given the material we're working with here, it could have been worse.
That's right.
I guess I would go with Jim O'Brien, Brett Brown, and Doc Rivers. I don't think this is horrible, a selection of people to pick in this case. Who's number one for you?
I have no idea. It's maybe that this is a function of just like when teams are bad, coaches are also seen as bad, or when teams are mediocre, coaches are also seen as I don't like truly I couldn't tell you anything about like Randy Ayers or Jim O'Brien's coaching style and what they could do with an actual good team. I have no idea.
I have no idea. Yeah.
There's just no, I think coach, Doug Collins' thing is I can take a, team that won 32 games and we can win like 44. And it's like, okay, that's, I think, the most pointless, like bad to decent upgrade in sports. Like, I think it doesn't mean anything whatsoever, but I guess if that's what you're looking for in a coach, then like he's your guy. But I don't know, like the coach straight up does not matter. Can only embarrass you in an episode where a coach is horny on Maine, can only embarrass you and make things worse unless the team is like within the top 10 best like built rosters in the league. And so then you get into like, okay, does the coach matter? But until there, they don't matter. And the Sixers, for most of these coaches, did not have a top 10 roster in the league.
I think my bottom three, Mike asked for bottom three. Doug Collins would be bottom three.
Okay, so your sloppy toppy is Jim O'Brien, Brett Brown, and Doc Rivers, and my sloppy toppy is Maurice Cheeks, Brett Brown, and Doc Rivers. Okay.
Wait, hold on. I'll tell you what. Okay, so that's my sloppy toppy. I'm looking for a bottom three from these hashtags. So my three cuckolds, I think.
Okay, sure. Safe.
My bottom three would be Doug Collins with this particular roster. Now, if you were to give them if you were to give me some mid-achieving nobody roster, like the Nets from pre-Durant,
right?
I would pick Doug Collins.
Sure.
I would put him in the top three, but I would put him in the bottom three for this. I think the bottom three is pretty clearly Doug Collins, Eddie Jordan, and Tony DeLeo.
That's what I would say also.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's our cuck, our three cucks. And then
just fucking cucked Tony DeLeo's ass. Wow. Right on live internet. Got his ass out of here.
The three fat ass white girls are backing it up. The fat ass white girls backing it up are Eddie Jordan, Doug Collins, and Tony DeLeo.
That's right.
All right. Montrezl Harrell got in trouble for having 3 pounds of weed, and TMZ got the video of the traffic stop in which Montrezl Harrell and a friend of his seem to be waiting around for what the word is, and then the cops start asking Montrezl Harrell NBA questions, and three of them
I haven't seen this.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Now we got to wait for CJ, who didn't even look at the show rundown, to get it up there. I can see by his movement and panic that he was not ready for this. I could see by the smile, and now we're gonna have to sit through the first minute of the fucking TMZ video. It doesn't even. You're gonna have to fast forward to 2:30. There we go.
Instead of the biggest prick, who's the most unliked player?
The most unliked player might be Pat.
That's what you were saying. Pat Beverly, everybody hates saying what's your teammate.
There you go. Can you pause it? I just want to pause it between each one. So the cop asked him who the most unliked player in the NBA was, and Harrell says it's probably Pat Beverly. So now we get to the Sixers-related stuff. All right, next thing.
And he embraces that. Like he doesn't care. He likes that. Yeah, he
like
feeds
Lance
off of it.
Stevenson. Who's the best big guy you ever had to play against?
Shit. Jokic.
Oh yeah, Jokic. Really?
You can pause it. So he asked him who the best big guy he's ever played against was, and Montrezl Harrell says Jokic.
I mean, all right, we'll play the rest of it, and then I'll
all
weigh
right.
in with my thoughts.
And then CJ.
I guess I don't watch too many Nuggets games. I'm surprised he won MVP. Bro.
Shit.
You get to play this year?
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm not. He's like, for him to be that size, all the passing that he's doing, all that shit is it.
Who had the best facility you played at? Oh, they are pretty good.
A lot of them are great because a lot of them been redone. Like Memphis spot is redone, so their shit is better than Golden State.
What's the worst? You know, like Cincinnati Bengals don't even have an indoor practice facility.
The arena I hate playing at the worst is probably Philly.
Oh yeah? Because the fans or because of the arena?
The arena.
Really?
It's either Philly or or Boston. Cause that shit's got they got hockey teams. So that shit got the ice up under there.
There we go. So he says that his least favorite place to play is Philly or Boston, but specifically says, even though he doesn't know this is going to be on the internet, saves himself by saying it's not the fans, it's because the arena is so cold because of the ice underneath. And if you've ever been
saying that forever.
Yeah. And we did wing bowl in there, and I stood on the floor like in the morning with that. It's fucking freezing down there. You think it's freezing in the arena. It's really freezing down on the floor. Really cold down on the floor.
Need a Keith Pompey hand to show us.
So the best big guy you've played against, he says Jokic. Mike, your thoughts?
I think a couple things. I hate cops so much. They're just like, let me ask you some fucking gossip.
Oh,
while we're pulling you over, let me ask you some cool gossip.
We really have to do this?
No, that was it. That was all I want to say.
Okay.
And so when he answers Jokic, I think it's like, look, I'm getting pulled over by these white cops. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm gonna let me feed him a white guy. Let me just be safe and say Jokic, because maybe they won't do anything fucking stupid and crazy. So I will believe, especially with the saving himself for the Wells Fargo Center is bad only because it's cold, not because of the fans. I think that was also a calculated, like, let's just get out of the situation, because this is not what I want to be doing on my on a sunny day in whatever it was.
If you watch the complete video, the first 2 minutes, they tell him the worst thing that's going to happen here is we're going to write you a ticket. So that is in the first 2 minutes of the video. So they were sitting, if you're not watching it, they're sitting relaxed and talking. I think he said Jokic because I think he thinks Jokic is the best offensive big man he's played against.
Certainly
that would be my reaction, is that if I was a center, specifically a defense challenge center, who is strong like Harrell is, I would much rather face Embiid than Jokic. I think that would be my thought.
Yeah, I think probably he thinks that he can score against anybody, and so he's just thinking about offense and who it's hard to stop.
Right.
And it's harder to defend Jokic than it is Embiid, for sure.
Yeah, and we've said several times, like I have under no illusion, like Jokic is a better offensive player than Embiid is. The argument is that Embiid is so much better on defense than Jokic is. That is where the challenge comes in. But Jokic is clearly the more skilled offensive player. I mean, he's like arguably one of the most skilled. It's skill-wise, maybe the most skilled offensive big man of all time. I don't know that there's too many players that you could argue otherwise. But
again, I'm happy to read if Montrezl is going to become a fan favorite. I'm happy to read it as just like, let me tell these white guys I like a white guy. Get out of the situation.
All right, Vegas Mike. Time to bring back Vegas Mike, and this will pivot into a Mori comment. So I was looking on the DraftKings specials. They have team specials for NBA, and they have Brooklyn Nets team specials for the NBA. The first and two of them involve Ben Simmons. Now, this is, I believe, in New Jersey and PA. You can only get this if you're listening in the DraftKings app. You go to the NBA section, go to team special. The first one, Vegas Mike. Number of minutes Ben Simmons will play in the Brooklyn Nets opener against the New Orleans Pelicans on October 19th, 2022. The over-under is 31 minutes. What does Vegas Mike say?
I thought about betting several $1,000s on the under.
Yeah, I had somebody tweet me that bet $500 on the under immediately as soon as I tweeted it out.
I guess I would say there's probably generously a 50-50 chance he plays.
That's generous. Incredibly generous, I think.
Let's say it's a coin flip.
Yep.
And even then, if he plays, he's probably going to play over 31 minutes. But even that is you still have 25% chance of if he plays, they ease him in or something. So I just think the odds are much, much better. It might happen, but I feel like these are good odds to play if you want to play them.
And then the other one, which seems like, look, bet responsibly. Bet what you can afford to lose. That is the way to do it. That's what DraftKings wants you to do. It's what we want you to do. However, number of games Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons will play together for the Nets this season. Over or under 46.5.
That seems just like free money.
It's crazy, isn't it? Vegas Mike?
I mean, I would... I can't do the sportsbook in California yet for DraftKings,
right.
so we can't be doing it. But it does seem like they're really overshooting it.
The three of those, they've played 0 games together so far.
I would have said it at like 22.5.
Yeah, even last year, how many games did Irving and Durant play together last year? Like 15? And that didn't even have Ben Simmons involved. And I know the vaccine thing is not, there's no way they play more than 46.5 games together. I would be stunned.
There's a very real chance it's 0.
Very real.
There's a chance that none of them individually play any games for the Brooklyn Nets this season.
So Mike's sloppy toppy bet of the week. DraftKings, by the way, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Football games tomorrow. Right now, use code RTRS, bet $5 if you're a new user, and get $200 in free bets instantly. And everyone experiences the early win promotion. If you bet on an NFL team to win, at any point during the game, if your bet leads by 10 points, you get paid instantly, even if they lose. That's fucking crazy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS and get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code RTRS, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So that brings us to, CJ, we're going to the Mori thing. I don't want to, I'll give you enough back up here. So Darryl Mori was on a podcast with John Clark from NBC Sports Philadelphia. And I did not, if I'm being honest, I did not listen to the podcast, but they did post this 30-second clip on Twitter of Darryl answering the question of what he's been most surprised about since becoming president and GM of the Sixers. And I thought it was telling. Take it away.
I'd say the biggest surprise are the players who can't play here. It's actually not helpful to me. Like I really the more options I have, the better. But I do think I'm starting to learn, and I do love it about Philadelphia because I do think it gets the best out of our team, and I've seen it with not only our team but the Eagles and the Phillies. And I never understood this being in Houston when people would say, oh, you need to have a special mindset to play in Philly. You need to have a special mindset maybe to play in New York, although I think that's less true. Honestly, I can only speak to Philadelphia because I've been here now. I do think I really do pay attention to the mindset of the players and can they handle playing in Philadelphia, because I do think it's a different thing.
I believe him there. And I have I
also believe he doesn't like it.
Yes. But I also, I mean, he indicated that. He said, this is a challenge for me. I need all the options possible. When you're ready, I have a tea leaf theory on this quote from Darryl Mori, but I don't know if you had anything else on what he said.
No, go for it.
So, and by the way, I do think I think there are two things that are true. One, I think there's a perception that makes it harder for players, but I think not every player who perceives Philadelphia as one way feels that way once they get here. I think there are a lot of players that get here that thought it was one way and actually really enjoy it because the fans really care and it makes it more exciting for them. So there's some players who can deal with it and some players that can't. And I also agree with Maury when he says different in New York. There's just more going on in New York, and the fact that the teams are split, the fans are split half and half with a lot of the sports makes it a different thing, where in Philly, if the fans hate you, they all fucking hate you, and it's different in New York. But here's my theory. Do you remember, of course you remember, when Darryl said that he had, before the Harden thing, that they were targeting a different player? And then another rumor had come out that Embiid had favored Bradley Beal. And then when you think back, Bradley Beal had voluntary surgery, which took him out of the rest of the year, and he became no longer a viable trade option. I think Brad Beal didn't want to play in Philadelphia. What do you think of that theory?
Sure.
I mean, he is a person that, no disrespect to DC as a place, but there's so many people there that are transplants. There's not a lot of people that are just from there as a percentage of audience. So I think that the pressure on the Wizards from a fan point of view is much lower. It has been noted that he likes being there, and I imagine that he would pick more carefully if he was going somewhere else. And I just think, like, I'm looking at Darryl and I'm hearing him talk, and I'm trying to think about Ben aside. Obviously, the Ben thing is like one thing.
Right.
And Ben might not be able to play anywhere, actually, but he thought it was Philadelphia. Ben aside, I'm trying to think, what has Darryl gone through that would lead him to feel this way? Mm-hmm. And I really think it was Brad Beal. And I think that's my and I have no, I want to be clear. I have no, we've said that Darryl has told us other things before. We've made it clear. I have no information on this whatsoever. It was just sort of like my gut when I was watching it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think the rumors about Embiid wanting him more, and then the elective surgery and him continuing to do like sort of like a, whatever, I was going to say B- Dame, but not based on their abilities, but just based on Dame continuing to give quotes to every news outlet in the world that he loves Portland, is going to stay in Portland, and he's just built different about Portland or whatever. Brad is doing like not as much of that, but some of it. Yeah, I think that is entirely feasible as a tea leaf.
Yeah. I would love for that information to come out at some point. And I actually would be really interested in hearing players who we don't know about, who were apprehensive about coming here and ended up not signing here because of, I'm sure there's a very long list, but I'm curious as to which players there are. Like what could have gone different?
Which happens everywhere for various reasons.
Absolutely. I'm curious, like, I just think back at like the sliding doors, thing of like, what could have gone differently if this player decided to come here?
Yeah. Like Kelly Olynyk is like, don't send me there.
Goes back that there's a huge, when we see this list, it will only be backup centers who can shoot.
Oh no. That would be horrible. We need a dog who is a backup center who can shoot. That is it. Philadelphia needs to, like, some like 15-year-old in Philly who's going to grow up to be like 6'11" from Philly needs to really learn how to shoot really well now, so that in the next like 4 or 5 years he could be on the Sixers and not say he doesn't want to play here.
We need somebody from here. We need a backup center who is from here.
Otherwise, they're not going to come. Yeah. Something about backup center shooting and being from a different place means you don't want to come to Philly. So we simply have to make them ourselves. So all the parents in Philly get about, helping your kid grow to be 6'11" at least and learn how to shoot.
Before we get to the mailbag, and I don't know if I want to talk about this op-ed on the Sixers arena or not. I'll think about it. And CJ, while I'm talking about LL Pavorsky, could you come up with a list of towns in Delaware County based on the mailbag? Thank you. LL Pavorsky Jewelers is the first original sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, nearing 300 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners who have purchased engagement rings from LL Pavorsky. Also, such a generous supporter of our charities, is once again a team sponsor of our Bark in the Park team. LL wants to do things completely different than every other jeweler, in that when you buy jewelry from LL, he's going to give you something other than jewelry. I'm just kidding. No, he's doing it differently in that when you go into most jewelry stores, there's a salesperson who is right on you, like white on rice, like torturing you, pressuring you. It's going to be the opposite of LL. So much so that he doesn't even want you to come in unless you have an appointment. He wants to be able to like know what you want before you get in there. He's going to do it different in that they're going to pressure you the entire time, but that's not what LL is going to do. LL is going to, if you want to leave, think about it, go ahead. If you need more information, go ahead. That's how he's going to treat the whole thing. And the other thing is that the other place is going to pressure you to maybe spend more than you can spend. And that's not what LL is there for anyway. When you go in to buy an engagement ring from him, tell him what your price range is. He'll stay within that price range. He's helped Ricky listeners who are spending, comparatively very little and comparatively a lot. It's all the same to him. He has done so much for our community and has helped so many people who are within the Ricky family. I am 100% confident in sending you to him. 100%. So much so that if you go to anybody else, it would be a mistake. 707 Walnut is where the store has been for over 30 years. You can reach out to LL to make an appointment by calling 215-627-2252 or emailing lee@llpavorsky.com or tweeting @llpavorsky. And LL, a supporter of our charities Providence Animal Center and Mama T's Community Fridge. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
Horny for fair prices.
LL. Oh, well, I'm glad that you didn't use any of those.
No, I didn't want
those
to
phrases. Yeah,
but
boy,
I'm sure you would like it.
Is LL the most likely of our sponsors to be caught in an accidentally horny Twitter?
Rank those.
Okay.
Dicey. No.
Okay. Don't do it.
Don't do it. LL is definitely probably the most online of them. Although they're all kind of online. You can't be one of our sponsors without being more online than you should be.
I would say that the most online, LL is number 1 most online. Kornblau is number 2 most online. And then Kasabi, no. Ben from Kinetic is number 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and Kornblau is number 3. We say that with love. All right. The mailbag, rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com, rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com. Where is it? Or 833-LICKFACE, 833-LICKFACE is where you can leave a voicemail. This comes from Matt. Hey, Spike and Mike, was listening to your analysis of Bullshit Delco in relation to the Operation Alley-Oop documentary and was wondering where you two would draw the official border of real to bullshit Delco. Like you, Spike, I grew up in Glen Mills and totally agree it's bullshit Delco, but I have love for the idea of Delco anyway. However, my mom grew up in Havertown, so we would visit family there a lot growing up, which showed me that it's definitely real Delco, but feels close to the edge of bullshit, at least geographically. Love the pod, guys. Let me know where you think the line lies. This is obviously, I think, more a question for me than for you, right? Yeah. So you're right in that Havertown and Ardmore are sort of like the conceptual midpoints of real and bullshit Delco. Now, Ardmore has an area in Delaware County and an area in Montgomery County, so that is part of it as well. I would say that while Havertown is more Delco than Glen Mills is, but is still not true Delco like I'm talking about. So if you're going, like Broomall is bullshit Delco. Chad's Ford, bullshit Delco. Chester Heights, bullshit Delco. Concordville, on the line, maybe similar to Havertown, real Delco. Aston, real Delco. Upper Darby, Drexel Hill, Fallcroft, Essington, Folsom. Garnet Valley is fake Delco. Glen Olden is real Delco. Holmes is real. Lansdowne is real. Marcus Hook is borderline. Media used to be real Delco, and now it's fake Delco. Newtown Square, fake Delco. Ridley Park, real. Prospect Park, real. Sharon Hill, real. Springfield, real. Swarthmore, fake. Upper Darby, real. Villanova's not in Delaware County, are they? They're in Montgomery County. So that's it. Woodland, real Delco.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
None whatsoever.
Okay, there you go. CJ gave me the list. That's it. There's definitely towns in Delaware County that are not actually Delaware County towns, and that's what I think. I don't know about this boat one. Here we go. This comes from John. Rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com. Spike, Mike, and CJ. I recently made the mistake of making spicy pico de gallo without using gloves and without washing my hands thoroughly. I took a leak and suffered intensely. At one point, I was squeezing lime slices onto my penis in the hope that it would cut down on the pain.
Wow.
That attempt was unsuccessful. My non-basketball question is this. Have you ever had a moment with spicy food that made you regret it due to the pain it caused you? Giving Mike's previously discussed GI problems, I have to imagine there's a situation of note in his past.
Oh, all the time.
Do you have one specific one that pops up into your brain?
No.
No?
But definitely the idea of like never into the tip of my penis, which I respect. that level of
They call that the
that you got to fall pretty far for that to be to come to in that situation. But yeah, you get like a burn in your finger, something like that. That always sucks, or in your eye. I'll get like a spicy something in my eye.
so
Yeah, sometimes you just like as you get older, you get better at being like, I'm going to make. You don't get great at it, but you're going to be like, in this situation, it is a good idea for me to not get something spicy.
yeah. Well,
You get slightly better at that, but sometimes you still, sometimes you trip, and you got to be like, keeps me humble. I'm in a bathroom in the place I don't want to be, at a dinner or during work that I don't need to be, and so then you're just like, remember this feeling, and bounce back from it.
so I'm a spicy food person. Earlier in my years, I would make the mistake of taking like challenges or whatever, the spicy challenge. My brother and I would go to a place called Cluck U, and we finally decided to take the 911 challenge at the one in Newark, Delaware. And there's a bunch of Cluck U's, and it's one of those things where you have to eat the 6 wings without, drinking anything, and you have to sign the waiver and blah, 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 blah. And we eventually completed this challenge at a different Cluck U, but the one in Newark was one of the worst experiences with spice I've ever had in my entire life. My brother got some of the sauce in his eye and basically started to intimate that I needed to take him to the emergency room. We walked up, I think, if I remember correctly, to the counter and got like sodas on our own to try to wash all out the spice. My brother was in worse shape than I was, as his steering wheel was hot the next day because he had the sauce on his hands, which he wiped off, but was the capsaicin or whatever was left on the steering wheel. And he said actually showering the next day hurt, getting water on his fingers and his lips from the spice and we found out what they used was habanero extract to make it spicier, but they had no specific guidance on how much habanero extract they were supposed to put in the 911 wings. So
Tough.
Yeah, there was snot everywhere. There were people that left the restaurant as my brother was struggling through it. It was bad. It was a mistake. So the basketball question from John is, which Sixers do you think would handle very spicy food the best and worst? Cameroonian food tends to be spicy from my research, so Embiid may be the team champ here. Maxey could also be in the running since there's literally a food called Nashville hot chicken, and he went to college in an adjacent state. I'd speculate that his energy level on the court may result from touching his penis with capsaicin-tainted hands before each game.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, what do you think?
I've also had a Nashville hot chicken. I've had before, and that I also like spicy food, but sometimes it just spicy food doesn't like me. Yeah, Nashville hot chicken can get bad. I had when I was in Nashville with my friend. I had to like run. There wasn't a bathroom in this restaurant, which is how you know it's like a legitimate place. Because they're like, "Fuck you, it's your own fault." And I had to like sort of blindly run to the gas station with like tears coming down my eyes next the gas station next door.
Wow,
that was tough. I sort of feel like they'd all be good at it. I feel like it's a.
I think PJ Tucker would be awesome. He looks like a guy who.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something about like being an athlete and being like, I can handle this. I can take it. I feel like Matisse maybe wouldn't be, but also he would try something. He would try some like exotic spicy food that's not actually good.
Well, he would I also think he would be the one to take the one chip challenge or whatever and videotape it. Right? Have you seen that?
Maybe Tobias wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's a good call too. So the lamest guys on the team would be bad with spicy food.
I don't know.
Is really what you're trying to say.
Who's got bad? Who's got bad? Do we know anything about? I mean, I guess Embiid has had notoriously bad stomach.
Right.
In opportune times. So maybe
CJ popping in.
Just pop it in and say Embiid in 2018 did the Hot Ones challenge on the show with Sean Evans. So,
I didn't know he was on Hot Ones.
Yeah, in 2018, and he ran through the entire gauntlet. So
what a good show that is.
Very good.
Yeah.
2018 was very close to when he missed several playoff games with gastroenteritis.
Oh.
It was June 2018 as well.
Oh my
When it
God.
came out. So
Okay.
Oh.
Seems like we can add the hot ones guy to the list.
Oh my God. What a crushing thing that is. Oh my God. I didn't intend on discovering that in this
No.
podcast, but
No.
oh my God. And final question. Well, actually, two final questions. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. This comes from Steven, non-basketball question. How long before CJ gets his own spin-off podcast? Mike, I'll let you handle that one.
I don't know, CJ. What do you want? What do you want the podcast to be about?
Hiking pod, wilderness,
CJ and the friend group.
putting on 40 pounds.
I did think of. I texted my buddy Greg about it, but I did think of the worst name for a podcast that I could feasibly. This could feasibly be the name of my podcast if I had my own, and it would
Sloppy
be.
Toppy.
It wouldn't be Sloppy Toppy. It's just a terrible name. It's really an embarrassing one. But like the cartoonishly bad one would be Shtick to Sports.
Oh my God.
It'd be terrible.
Oh,
It'd be like a Jew's opinion about some dicey topic. It would be terrible.
Oh, no.
Terrible idea for it. So we're not going to do that. But CJ, you can have it if you want.
yeah, not yet. Not yet. Give me like
Wow.
10, give me like 10 years and we'll.
Okay.
Oh, wow, you got to
See
put
what
the
I'm
time
doing.
in. Pay
Yeah.
your dues.
That's right.
Wow, huge. How about that? We'll leave it with this. It's not a full-on relationship advice question, but it's a good one to end on. This is from Kevin. Hey, Spike and Mike, I enjoy hearing you give relationship advice to all the listeners who email in. And more often than not, the advice is some form of, I know you don't want to hear this, but you have to move on. I think you're right in almost every situation. And I think a third party like you guys can clearly see when it's something they need to get over. My question is, do you have any advice on getting over someone and moving on? It's something I've struggled with in the past and always seemed much easier said than done, but I'm open to the idea that I'm not going about it the right way. Thank you guys. Love the pod.
Nah, there's no way to do it.
It's tough. I have been
Be busy and then don't be busy and then be upset and then like walk home in the rain and then like just, all that shit. You're going to have to lean into being sad and knowing that like there's something cinematic and romantic about how sad you are.
Yeah, I mean, I've had trouble getting over those things in the past. I will say that I do think going out with somebody else, as much as it hurts and seems impossible, is, I think, the best recipe for it, if I'm to say one thing, is to like somebody else. Is that like one of the things that goes on in your head when you're having trouble moving on is whether you're thinking about this consciously or not, is you think you're not going to be able to find someone again, like the odds of finding someone else who will like you or blah, 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 blah. And I think the feeling of liking someone else and having someone else like you is the best thing, is the thing that I think can speed up the process more than anything else. That would be my advice. Before we go, a note of thanks to our listeners. I've done this before, mostly after live shows, but it hit me yesterday. So we had our listener, Mike, who passed away due to brain cancer earlier this week. And we talked about him on the last episode. And he left behind his wife and his two small kids. He was 30 years old. And I actually went to his funeral yesterday. And while I was walking in, I saw there were, at a funeral, they have all these pictures of the person who passed away. And there were all these pictures of Mike. And in two of the pictures, there were, he was wearing our t-shirts, one with his kids and one with, and I know this sounds like it doesn't matter, but it's part of it in that like the t-shirts were deep cuts. There were the heavy metal t-shirt that we did that like almost nobody bought. And there was the Rockets colored one that we did at the beginning of the playoffs. I think the red and yellow one. And I just thought to myself, and his wife gave his eulogy, which was beautiful, and he seemed like very well loved, and it seemed like a great person. The thing that hit me was, here is this person who has a wife and has two kids and has friends and a family and a mortgage to pay and all of these things. And somehow he found time in his life for this, right? Like from all purposes, like from all, like his friend told me and his wife told me what a big fan he was and how much he listened and how much he appreciated the podcast. and he found time for us every week within that, all of those things to do, right? And his wife said that when they had kids, he started getting up and going to the gym at 4 a.m. so he would have time for his kids afterwards. And he still had time for us, right? And those t-shirts, he still had $20 or $25 to spend money on our dumb t-shirts. And I know we treat this as silly a lot of times, and it is silly, but I want to, there are a lot of people in the world of like Mike who have spent years with us and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I just want you to know that if you're one of those people, it is not lost on me or us what that means. You know, like you only have, I always say time isn't negotiable. You only have so much time, and you have to distribute it. You can't make more. So every decision you make to do something with your time is a decision to not do something else. So everyone's budgeting that either consciously or subconsciously. And I really, really appreciate those who consciously make the decision to spend that time with us. And it hit me that, you know, like Mike only had 30 years, and a good portion of his 30 years were spent just listening to us talk about basketball. And it means a lot, you know, for us to be able to do this long. It means that people like us and believe in us, and that is not lost on me. So just wanted to end with a note of thanks.
Rest in peace, Mike.
Rest in peace, Mike. We will talk to you later this week. Hopefully nobody else gets horny on Twitter. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, you know, Lickface.